Burnley have been promoted to the Premier League. An insane season where they broke 100 points and didn't even win the league. And their defense was absolutely unbelievable. But everything about the Clarets is going to have to go to another level if they want to survive the Premier League relegation battle next season. And they also need to shake the title of a yo-yo club. Today, I'm heading to Turf Moor for the second of our 3 realistic rebuilds here in FC25. So here is the default lineup that FC25 gives us as we take over at Turf Moor. You look at this and you're like, yeah, this probably isn't a side that survives relegation. I've recalled every player that was off on loan, and I've terminated the loan of every player that was in the club on loan. And I've put Burnley into the Premier League alongside already promoted Leeds United, and then thrown Sheffield United in because the playoffs have not happened yet. But I find Burnley to be one of the most interesting storylines already heading into next Premier League season. Scott Parker, he's proven that he can dominate the Championship, but hasn't proven it at the Premier League level. We've seen it with Fulham and Bournemouth. Will he be able to buck the trend at Burnley? And immediately hitting the ground running, Marcus Edwards spent the second half of the promotion winning campaign on loan at Burnley. He had a release clause with Sporting if Burnley got promoted. I am activating that right now. Marcus Edwards, welcome to Burnley permanently for £7 million. Continuing with our trend of signing players that absolutely lit up Burnley when they were on loan, it's Jaden Anthony. He was on loan from Bournemouth. He now joins us for £3.5 million. Now, when it comes to player departures, there are a few names that have been floated about leaving Burnley next season. But for the most part, I'm going to be using my instincts, especially when it comes to loan moves. Jaden Bannell heading back down to the Championship with Sunderland. And Aaron Ramsey, I really want him to get some solid growth. He's not going to get starting football this season, so I'm loaning him to PSV. Huntonji heading down to Leicester City, the potential replacement this year for Jamie Vardy. Darko Chelanov will be the first permanent player out of the club. He's been rumoured away from Turf Moor, and in this universe, the North Macedonian drops down to Luton Town, who have just been relegated to League One. I really want to make sure the spine of our squad here at Burnley is really solid though. So at the centre midfield role, Kiernan Dewsbury Hall will be joining us from Chelsea. His career at a crossroads. Let's get it restarted at Burnley. Luka Kolyosho was one of those guys that I was tempted to give the starting right mid spot to this year, instead of bringing in Jaden Anthony, but I've elected to loan him out. Absolute wonder kid, sending him back to Italy, his home nation, for the season. And it is time for us to bring Burnley's 14-goal striker back to Turf Moor permanently. Fleming has signed a permanent contract in real life, making his move from Millwall to Burnley, and it's only right, given this is a realistic rebuild, that we do the same right here. Do I think from an FC career mode standpoint that Fleming is going to be the guy that is going to keep us in the Premier League? I do not, but that's the fun part about doing a realistic rebuild, at least in these first few seasons. I'm going to have to test it out. Fleming in from Millwall. I am excited about this transfer though, lads. Kieran bloody Trippier, former Burnley player, started off there. It's only right we bring him back in the twilight of his professional career to help us stay up in the Premier League. We've signed the veteran from Newcastle United for £9 million. I had him on my shortlist and I wasn't sure whether I was going to do it or not, but once I saw that he was in negotiations with Crystal Palace, that gave me the green light. I knew I had to go get him. Back to the loans though, the young Scotsman Michael Mellon heads to the Netherlands for the next year. Does anyone remember when Michael Obafemi was an absolute wonder kid on career mode like 3 or 4 years ago? I definitely do. He's not anymore though. We're going to sell the 24-year-old striker to Luton Town. And with that, our first transfer window is in the books. When it came to James Trafford and Amdouni, I did have them on the transfer list because they are rumoured to leave the club, but only to one specific team. For Amdouni, it was Benfica. For James Trafford, it was Newcastle. I was only going to accept offers, especially for James Trafford, if it came from one of those clubs. Amdouni, I was going to be a little more lenient, basically any non-Premier League club, but when it's James Trafford, it was either Newcastle United or I wasn't accepting it. We've still got a decent amount of money though in our transfer budget, so given how we're looking come January 1, we will make some more transfers. I expect us to be in the relegation battle. It's just a matter of whether we can get out of that relegation zone. So we're in the relegation battle, but it is not as bad as I initially expected. Bournemouth sitting dead last. We are 9 points clear. This is really good. Obviously, we are nowhere near safe, but to be 9 points clear heading into the halfway point of the season, I'm pretty pumped up about that. Also, if you cast your attention above my head there, on Boxing Day, we met our quota for the Burnley shithousing win, taking down Liverpool. Burnley have to beat a big team. It's just in the DNA. We beat Liverpool in December. To be honest, December has saved us massively. We had only had 3 wins heading into December, and then we doubled our win total in that month. Keep it going. Let's keep it going. It is time for us to say goodbye to Amdouni. We got an offer in which I felt was pretty respectable for the Swiss striker. In a normal career mode, I think I would hold on to him, but now we're selling him to Real Sociedad. In the summer window, I tried to negotiate with Chelsea for an offer with Bashir Humphreys. We couldn't get it over the line, so I've come back for a second bite of the cherry here in January. The former Burnley loanee is finally back at the club permanently as we pay £8 million for his services. Also for context, these are the rest of the names that I found from scouring the internet as the players that were linked with Burnley in one way or another. I'm probably done my transfer business for the year, but I think it's a fun insight to see who we could have potentially gone for. And it only got better in this second half of the season. Dude, we were 1 point away from Europa League or Conference League football. 9th place, I don't think that's going to do it for us. But what is happening in both of these realistic rebuilds I've done? We have absolutely crushed it in the first season. This one not as good as the Leeds one, but I'm just glad not to have got relegated yet. Speaking of relegation, Leeds do go down with Sheffield United and Bournemouth. Brighton avoid relegation on goal differential. And top of the league, Villa coming third, but Manchester City win the league. Chelsea win the FA Cup. I'm just glad we put all of our efforts into the Premier League this year. Liverpool win the Carabao. Again, absolute stinker. The goal of this realistic rebuild, of course, though, is to win a Champions League title with Burnley. PSG winning it in season 1. Man United win the Europa League, which honestly might open up another European spot. And when it comes to the Conference League, Chelsea win that. All English, okay. That might honestly get us Conference League football. I'm not fully certain how the dominoes are going to fall, but we're in a great spot. I will say I was incredibly nervous about how we were going to go with our attack this year. Especially, I didn't know if Jaden Anthony was the right move in terms of overall, but he's proven me wrong. He has shut me up for now. 16 goals, 6 assists, 11 and 11 for Edwards. All of our signings absolutely crushing it. A bit of a battle though at the striker spot between Foster and Fleming. I honestly think, especially if we're playing European football next year, it would make sense to put a little money into a striker that we can back long term. Or maybe we just give that to Foster. Kieran Trippier dropping down 3 overall this season though. It's to be expected, but still not ideal. We will be saying goodbye at the end of this season though to John Joe Shelvey and Ashley Barnes. Barnes retiring, John Joe Shelvey, I'm letting walk into free agency. Season 1 in the books. Exceeded all expectations. I'm pumped about that, but can we avoid second season syndrome with Burnley? Confirmed, no Conference League for us this year. I thought we might have just been able to sneak in, but it's not to be. Let's just focus, like I said, on not having second season syndrome. And with Bournemouth's relegation from the Premier League, there are some serious talents up for grabs. And for me, the one that makes the most sense is to bring in the American defensive midfielder Tyler Adams. We get him from Bournemouth for £15 million. We need an upgrade at the defensive midfield role. We got the American owners in JJ Watt, dude, perfect. It all just links together. But it is time for us to put our spin on this side. I really want to toe the line between this being realistic, but also trying to make a good squad. Obviously, the longer a realistic rebuild goes on, the less it inherently becomes realistic because you're further from reality. But I'm starting a little clean out of some players that I don't think suit my plans. Jordan Byers heading to Sociedad. For me, I want it to be Esteve and CJ Egan-Riley as my centre-back duo for the next few years. This right here is the style of transfer that I really want to use to our advantage for the next few seasons until we have got ourselves in the picture to be a big English club. And that is to pick up the services of players who are decently rated but are down the pecking order at major Premier League and global clubs. And I think Mason Mount is the perfect example of this. A former wonder kid who hasn't had things work in his favor for the past few years. 26 years of age. This is it for him. If he doesn't succeed at Burnley, he'll succeed nowhere. And the fact we get him for such a cheap price of £10 million, it's a win-win. Josh Lauren out of the club though, heading to Everton. And same with Manuel Benson. I was up in the air whether I sold him, but I've moved him on to Wolves. A quad of loan moves await us. The first one is probably the most notable. Lyle Foster. I'm sending him off on loan. I don't want to sell him right now, but I want to give Fleming an opportunity to have the starting striker spot all to himself. Foster heading to Galatasaray for the season. I don't want Hannibal to rot away. He doesn't fit my formation right now, so I'm going to send him off to Fenerbahce for 2 years. Luka Kolyosho going to Crystal Palace. I'm probably going to give him the starting spot next year. It's just hard to justify him having the starting spot this season, given how well Anthony went last year. And another loan move awaits the young Dutchman Jayden Bannell. To his credit, Kieran Trippier has given us an early warning that he plans on retiring at the end of the season, so I think it would be wise for us to at least have an option at the right back role next year. Connor Roberts could be that guy, but I mean, he's 29, 74. I want to go for somebody that could take over the spot next year and be an upgrade. And for me, the Northern Irishman, Trey Hume, is the most appealing proposition. 76 overall, 23 years of age. Let's get this man a loan move so that he can hopefully come back and take the starting job next year. Bayern Munich wasn't necessarily the team I had in mind. We only had massive teams coming in for Hume. We had Manchester United and Atletico Madrid on top of Bayern Munich. So sending him to Brighton isn't quite the high profile I expected. I wanted a lower team than Brighton, but it's the best we were going to get. I am quite curious to see what this second season has in store. Like I said, this could be us either pushing up further into European football or find us in a relegation battle. The number one question for me though, Fleming, 27 years of age. He's just turned another year older. He's 74 rated. I've got a lot of money still in the budget. If he's not banging goals, I'm not going to be afraid to upgrade at striker. Bro, what the fuck? Oh my God. I think I'm going to start doing every rebuild as a realistic rebuild because we've done 2 of them this year and both of them we have got off to insane starts. We are in a Premier League title race. We are sitting second right now, 1 point behind Manchester City. Arsenal have 1 loss but 10 draws. We are 6 points ahead of them and 9 points clear of the Premier League, of the Champions League race. This is cooked, man. This is actually cooked. There's been no witchcraft or anything. I am as shocked as you guys to see this right here. Second season syndrome. You can get, we've already got the mathematical 40 points. Bro, all of our goals are coming from Anthony and Edwards. Even Mount's got more. Fleming's only got 5 goals. Imagine how good we'll be if we actually have a lethal striker. I'm putting money into that this year. Yes, we're in the title race. Yes, we're in a brilliant position, but we need to keep our expectations in check. The likes of Kylian Mbappe are still not going to want to join our club. For now, I think we're best signing a striker like Cali Mwendo, who's playing in a foreign league, wants to come to the Premier League, prove himself, and make his big move into world football. If that can help him deliver us a Premier League title, that would be brilliant. Cali Mwendo joining us from Lens. But I look at our run for the remainder of the season. If we can survive February, then I think we're going to be in an awesome position. It's a tough run home. February and March, really, really tough. But if we can find ourselves in April in a really good spot still, this season could be anything. Oh my God, Man City dropped off, but Arsenal lifted their game. They actually converted those draws into wins. We stay in second and we missed out on a Premier League title in season 2 by 3 points. Granted, the goal differential for Arsenal was off its face, but we have finished second in the Premier League this season with Burnley, an incredible run. I did not expect that season to go this way. Liverpool down in 11th. Swansea, Forest, and Luton Town get relegated. West Ham win the FA Cup. We went out to Man City in the 4th round. Arsenal win the Carabao. Again, it looks like we put all of our focus into the Premier League this season. Yeah, we lost to Wigan. Wigan on penalties. We are playing Champions League football next season though, which is absolutely cooked. PSG win this year. Napoli win the Europa League. And Newcastle United win the Conference League. Jaden Anthony, I keep saying, oh yeah, I'm going to give Kolyosho the starting spot next year. Jaden Anthony is one of the best players in the Premier League this season. 25 goals, 8 assists. Edwards is 83 rated, 19 goal contributions, and in half a season, Cali Mwendo has got a goal in every other game. He's got a 0.5 strike rate. Insane. Even some of the guys like Mason Mount, Dewsbury Hall, like our midfield of players that needed to prove themselves, they're proven themselves. And Hume has gone up to a 78 in his season at Brighton, +2 growth for him. I'm going to bring the Northern Irishman into the starting 11 next season. We will be saying goodbye to a whole heap of players though. Kieran Trippier retiring. The rest of these guys, mostly young players, I'm just going to let their contracts expiring. They don't impress me too much, but Kieran Trippier, all the best, mate. Into season 3, that Champions League money hits different. We have got £118 million to start this season, and we need to make it work. Honestly, this has changed my entire mindset coming into this season and for this realistic rebuild with Burnley. I'm sorry, Hume, you're no longer starting right back because the perfect storm has just occurred. We've been given a crazy amount of money. We're into the Champions League, and Nottingham Forest have been relegated. On their books, one of the best right backs we could possibly want want, Tino Livramento. He moved to Nottingham Forest, was a part of that relegation squad, and I'll be damned if I'm not going to go all in and try bringing him in for our Champions League run. Tino's gone from playing in the Championship to the Champions League. We're at a new phase of life in this realistic rebuild, and I want my transfers to be realistic for that of a Champions League club. And clearly we have some massive expectations. The board want us to reach the quarterfinals. That could be a little far out of reach. I feel so bad for Koleosha. I fully intended on having him starting ahead of Jaden Anthony 2 years ago, but Jaden Anthony's just gone to a different level, so it's another loan move. This year, I'm going for a 2-year loan move. Luka Koleosha heading to Monaco. Some players will not be joining us for this Champions League run. It's become clear that Fleming is not going to be the striker for us. I'm selling him permanently to Parma and giving the backup striker role to Foster. To be fair, I feel bad for not only Hume, but I also now feel bad for Mason Mount. I fully intended on him having the starting centre midfield role. He had a decent season last year, but unfortunately, circumstances have changed. We need a decent to world-class centre midfielder, and that is exactly what we've got here in Lewis Ferguson. The Scotsman is going to move from Serie A club Bologna to Burnley, trading 1B for another. 26 years of age, 82 overall, and 30 mil spent. Connor Roberts is out of here. Another player we've sold to Luton. A year stateside on loan for Michael Mellon. Yeah, nice one, Bournemouth. Realise you stuffed up by selling Jaden Anthony for $3 million, you want him back. You come crawling back now that you're in the Prem. Rejected. 6 months ago in January, I didn't expect to be saying these words, but we've just loaned out Hume. It's not a bad problem to have. It's because we're doing so well that we have this problem and this situation, but the Northern Irishman is heading to Tottenham on loan. I almost have a little bit of decision paralysis when it comes to this team, because by every metric, Egan Riley and Humphreys are doing really well in terms of their growth. They're progressing at a really, really decent rate. But compared to the rest of the team and how well we're doing in our budget, I could easily upgrade them. Same thing there with Tyler Adams. We've had him for just over a year now, been really solid. Anthony doesn't look insane on paper, but is the best player in our team. This truly is going to be a really, really fascinating start to the season, especially with how we go in the Champions League. My decision making come January, honestly, I don't even know what the right call is going to be. We're in a great position though. We have £48 million still in our budget. We have a lot of assets we can sell on if we need to make a big signing. It's really going to come down to growth and Champions League performance. Speaking of the Champions League, we have a pretty cooked draw. If you look to the left, we face Atletico Madrid to start things off, followed by an away trip to Bayern Munich. October, we travel to Switzerland. Then we host Benfica in November and travel to Turin in northern Italy to take on Juventus. So already in our first games, we've got Benfica, Juventus, Atletico Madrid, Bayern Munich. December, we have Sparta Praha. And we round it out in January with AC Milan and Fenerbahce. We couldn't ask for a more difficult start to life in the Champions League. If we get ourselves through to the next round, I'm going to be very impressed. 1st of January, we're in the top 4 race again. It's clear to see that it wasn't a fluke last year. We're sitting 4th right now with Burnley. I want to solidify a top 4 spot though. And with 2 games to go in the Champions League, we are actually in a 6th spot. We're currently occupying an automatic spot. So if we can bring it home against Milan, we will be going through automatically. We've got 2 games to go there. I'm surprised. But look, when you look at our squad, it really becomes obvious what I need to do here in January, because Humphreys, 80 overall, 23. Egan Riley, the exact same thing. Adams hasn't grown. Anthony's still growing. They're the same age and overall, but Anthony has just been an absolute beast, and he gets the benefit of the doubt until he proves otherwise. I don't know if I'm going to sell Adams, but I'm definitely going in for a new defensive midfielder. And well, that just made my mind up for me. Josh Cullen has submitted a transfer request, so I'll cash in on him. Could get around £7 to £9 million. Haven't been able to get an offer though for Cullen, so I'm just going to go straight in, deal with the money we have to try get a new defensive midfielder, a star defensive midfielder. And you know what, fellas? Why not upgrade an American defensive midfielder with another American defensive midfielder? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Johnny Cardoso to the squad. He wants Champions League football. He wants to come into a title race. The American couldn't say no. Signing from Real Betis for £40 million on the dot. Tell you what, fellas, he takes our midfield to another level. We have gone loss against Milan, win against Fenerbahce. That's dropped us down to 10th. We're still alive, but we're going to have to go through the playoffs. In the playoffs, though, we are going to be facing FC Porto, which will be a really good test. That being said, I'm really impressed with how we went, given the tough schedule we had to finish so high and so close to automatic spots. Regardless, though, it'll mean jack shit if we go out here in the playoffs to Porto. Unfortunately, Livramento suspended, so Son is going to come into the starting 11. I did debate bringing Hume back from his loan, but that would be incredibly unrealistic for one game. And it doesn't matter because Anthony is going to give us a lead that we can take back to Turf Moor. We've got the lead. Livramento's back into the starting 11. Here we go, fellas. Can we carry on and get ourselves to the round of 16? Yes, we do. We dominate. Absolutely dominate Porto after they equalised, and we're heading into the round of 16. Imagine if we complete this in Season 3. It gets real now, though. It really does get real. It's PSG for the round of 16. EA don't want this to be an easy fairy tale. Not only do we come up against PSG, but we've got a suspension to Humphreys. Perez comes into the starting 11 for this first leg at Turf Moor, which we are going to win 3-1. That was not the result I was expecting. Could we actually win a Champions League with Burnley in Season 3? Holy hell. I cannot believe it, lads. We are 3-1 up against PSG, and now we get to field our strongest possible side. We travel to the Parc des Princes, to the French capital, and we lose 1-0. McAllister missed a penalty, though, that would have sent it to extra time, and we are heading to the quarterfinals with so much confidence. There is nothing realistic about the development of this rebuild, but you know what? I'm not mad about that. Okay, if you look to the bottom of your screen, we've got Roma. This is actually, there's Rangers, Roma, and Benfica still around. I'm hoping Benfica and Rangers can get victories, and obviously that we could beat Roma. Very interesting quarterfinals shaking up. Let's see how we go against Roma, though. First leg of the quarterfinals, we're at Turf Moor. A lead would be ideal to take back to Rome, but it is a 2-2 draw. This is probably, which is wild to say, the most adversity we've faced in these knockout stages. We've gone to the French capital and taken down PSG. Now can we travel to the Italian capital and take down Roma? A spot in the semi-finals are on the line, and we're gonna get there. A first half domination. This has Ajax Champions League semi-finals, Tottenham from a couple years ago. This has Cinderella story all over it. But can we eclipse what those clubs have done? Can we eclipse them and go all the way? Semi-finals with Burnley in season number 3. Are you kidding me? Benfica won't be joining us in the semis, though. It is going to be Barcelona looking like Milan and hopefully Rangers in the semi-final. There is a lot to unpack. We're versing Inter Milan. Inter Milan won their second leg 3-0. Milan, okay. Rangers are through. They're down 3-1 to Barcelona, but it is Barcelona versus Rangers, Burnley versus Inter Milan. I was not expecting it to look like this. All right. First leg, we're traveling. We're at home. I can't speak English. I'm in so much shock. We've got Inter Milan. Did not expect to be versing them. And we are behind. Okay, this has gotten real. We are behind. We are behind here in the semi-finals to Inter Milan. Edwards gets a goal in the 86th minute, and that leaves the door open. Just focus on getting a goal against Inter Milan. All right, here we go. If we're going to play in the Champions League final, we need to come from behind. We need a massive, massive victory. Traveling to the San Siro. Can the Burnley dream continue? Oh my God, are you kidding me? We were going to send it to penalties. But Hakan Çalhanoğlu has broken our hearts in the 118th minute, and we are out in Champions League semi-finals against Inter Milan. That hurts, man. That absolutely hurts. We could have had a final between Burnley and Rangers, but now instead it's going to be Inter versus Barca. Let's just make sure we finish in the top 4. It's not as comfortable as I'd hoped, but we are going to be playing Champions League football next season. We're going to get another bite of the cherry. 4th place with Burnley, just edging out Tottenham. Man City dominate and win the league. And as we scroll down relegation zone, Bournemouth are officially a yo-yo club as they go down alongside Everton and Ipswich. Wolverhampton win the FA Cup and Liverpool win the Carabao. This makes me feel a little bit better. Inter Milan have won the Champions League. Rangers ended up winning their second leg, but it is Barcelona who made the final. Newcastle win an all-English Europa League. Is that going to stuff us up? No, I think Newcastle finished above us. Okay, yeah, sweet. Newcastle finished above us. Although, to be fair, I think it would have just opened up another Champions League spot. And in the Conference League, Aston Villa win that one. Cali Mwendo, you absolute beast. 40 goals for our Frenchman. Edwards, 85 overall as well. Ferguson's had an incredible first year. Jaden Anthony's had a solid year, but in comparison to the heights he had previously, I don't know, this might be a sign. I mean, he's 81 overall. Koleosho's only 79. I honestly might just go all in on a new right winger next year. Hannibal has had a good 2-year stint at Fenerbahce, so I'm tempted. Do I either convert him to a centre midfielder, use him as a super sub, or cash in? Saying goodbye to one player at the end of season number 3 though, Nathan Redmond is retiring. My favourite deals, whether a realistic or not realistic rebuild, are in the relegated teams, and well, we've found another one. Centre back Odion Kasunu joining us from Everton, 84 rated centre back. That is a big time signing. Mike Tresor out of the club, heading to Toulouse, and Josh Cullen still wanted out of the club. I was cool to keep him as a backup defensive midfielder, but I understand him wanting to leave. So Josh Cullen is heading to Brentford. We've done it, fellas. We have signed a massive right wing player, and I don't think I've ever signed Brian Mbuemo in my years of doing rebuilds. But in this situation, it makes so much sense to bring him in. He's at Liverpool in this save. He's not the starting right winger. In fact, he is the third string right winger at Liverpool. So we're going to bring him to Burnley, 84 rated, 27 years of age. I want to see how the Cameroonian winger can perform for us. £43 million for Brian Mbuemo. And that leaves us with a very, very good side here. Humphrey's the lowest rated player in the squad, but honestly, I'm willing to give him some time. There's not really a caveat this season. I think coming into every year, we've had a but if this happens. Now, obviously, if Humphreys doesn't grow at all, then we'll have to have that conversation. But for this year, I'm really happy with what we've got. A squad of players in their mid to late 20s in Dewsbury Hall and Ferguson's case, where they're in the mid 80s. Everybody can grow together. Our bench and our defense and our depth is just unbelievable. I'm excited about what this season holds. But that hope and optimism would be nuked if we don't perform in the Champions League. We've got Sporting in September, along with Barcelona. October, we have Lask of Austria. November, Getafe, as well as hosting Eintracht Frankfurt. So far, not terrible. December, though, we meet up with AC Milan again, and we round it out away against Borussia Mönchengladbach and Stade Brestois. Nowhere near as difficult as a run from last year. We just love the playoffs, don't we? We have finished 10th in league phase play here with 15 points, 1 point out of the automatic spots, which Bilbao takes the last one. We're into the playoffs. Who we versing? We've got Salzburg, not the worst in the world. Paris versus Barcelona, so a juggernaut's going to get eliminated there. We have got Salzburg in the playoffs though. But we are right in the thick once again of this Premier League title race. Brighton are top of the league. We have 5 points off them with 14 games remain. We are only 1 point clear of Chelsea though. So we need to find the balancing act. We need to be winning in the Premier League and the Champions League. Dewsbury Hall is suspended for the first leg though. So as we travel to Austria, Mason Mount is in. Mason Mount is in. Can we get ourselves a strong lead against Salzburg? We do not. We actually come from behind. We rescue ourselves. I mean, we dominate statistically, but we are 2-2 heading into the second leg at Turf Moor. That is not ideal. Dewsbury Hall is back, and my God, we need him, lads. I did not expect to be all tied up against Salzburg, respectfully. We need a win here. We need a win. We get it. We get the victory. 3-1. They get a... Holy hell, that's an eventful first half for them. They score in the first minute, miss a penalty, and then we go on and score 3 unanswered goals to put ourselves into the round of 16 in dramatic circumstances. Into the round of 16, into the cauldron, it's Atletico Madrid. A huge step up in opponent quality. Come on, fellas. First leg at Turf Moor. Let's switch things up a little bit. We do! First leg is what we want. 3-1 up. That is exactly what we wanted. I mean, that's what I expected more against Salzburg rather than Atletico Madrid. I'm definitely not complaining though. A terrifically strong position to be in, but we're not secured. We're not there home and hosed at the moment. We are 3-1 up against Atletico away, and it's a 1-1 draw. Perfect, it is a 1-1 draw. Ferguson with a yellow card, hopefully not suspended, but we're back into the quarters. Okay, this is a lineup. We have got Athletic Bilbao in the quarterfinals, so we've taken down one club from Spain. Can we take down the final remaining Spanish club? So many of the big clubs have been pumped and dumped out of the tournament. Bilbao, quarterfinal, first leg on the road. Don't love that. And I don't love that scoreline either. And Mbuemo missed a penalty. And we're going to be heading back to Turf Moor, all tied up, 2-2, just like against Salzburg. Get the job done, fellas. In front of our home fans, we're at Turf Moor. It's 2-2 against Bilbao. A spot in the semi-finals to get us back on the line. And we get there. It's a second half demolition job. 3-1 up. Esteve, an early yellow card, though. Again, I'm just hopefully he's not suspended. But we're back into the semi-finals. PSG. Champions League quarterfinals, and we have PSG semi-finals rather. I wanted Inter Milan. PSG is not an easy opponent. Look, taking out PSG once in a video in a rebuild is a tough challenge. We've already done it once. Being able to take them out twice is near impossible. They're a good bloody side. First leg at home, and it's a 2-2 draw. It all hangs in the balance as we head to the French capital. Oh, come on, fellas. 2-2. We're away in the French capital, the Parc des Princes. We've already won here once in the past, and we're gonna win again. Oh, we're off to a Champions League final. McAllister misses a penalty. Johnny Cardoso, Edwards, and Livramento are our goal scorers. That is absolutely beautiful. An unlikely Sorrentino Livramento, but we are heading to a Champions League final with Burnley. And we are going to be versing Atalanta. They took down Inter Milan 1-0 in their second leg. Oh, this is exciting, lads. A very unique final. Atalanta versus Burnley. Benfica win the Europa League. Galatasaray win the Conference League. We have won the Premier League title with Burnley. We've won it, lads. 76 points. Not the highest scoring season in Premier League history, but there was 3 points between first and fourth. We've won a Premier League title, though, with Burnley. And most importantly, are heading back to the Champions League in Season 5. Some of the big clubs have had absolute stinkers. Leicester, if your name starts with an L, that's all you were copping this year. Man City win the FA Cup. We win the Carabao Cup. So we're going for a treble. We've won the Premier League, the Carabao Cup, and if we can win a Champions League title, the treble with Burnley. Cali Mwendo, oh my God. 48 goal contributions for the Frenchman, and Buemo has got himself 41 goal contributions, 36. Our front three is off its face. So many of the guys that I've signed in this video, I expected to only be here for a season or two, but our team has developed so incredibly. This has been a rebuild where I expected to spend probably the first 2 or 3 years in constant relegation battles. Instead, we're here in Season 4 trying to win a Champions League title with Burnley. Insane. And look, with all due respect, I think we're probably going to enter this one as favourite. We need to take advantage of that. Good turn there from Cardoso. We've got the ball for kickoff here. I'm holding up with Mbuemo. We've done well to get that to Dewsbury Hall. That would have been an insane start. We're all over them right now. We have nothing to show for it, but going to get that one in there. What is his defense doing? Ferguson, I play it back. I feel so all over the place. Stuck in two minds for just about every opportunity as to whether pass it or shoot it. I probably should have shot it with Ferguson, but luckily, we have made it work regardless. Cali Mwendo scores. We look so much better than Atalanta. Can't allow Atalanta to get back into this one here off the kickoff. They've passed it and they've hit it straight at Trafford. Holy hell, I'm taking that as a blessing. Counter-attack time, come on. I'm just going to keep L1ing it. I want to get it to Cali Mwendo. We've got it, though, to Ferguson, who's now going to get it to Cali Mwendo. Can we get a second goal before half-time? It falls to Mbuemo. Brian Mbuemo makes it 2. We are absolutely dominating Atalanta, and you can't say we don't deserve this lead. Edwards, we've got him on the counter-attack. Go back. Cali Mwendo could put it to bed. He does. Cali Mwendo's a sharpshooter. We are 3-0 up. This is one of the most comprehensive victories we've had in an FC25 rebuild so far. I definitely should have taken a touch, but on the volley there, he puts it top bins. Cali Mwendo is a beast. Good defense, Livramento. Come on, I want 4. I want 4 here. Cali Mwendo trying to get it out to Edwards. Can Edwards get involved in the action? He does. Our entire front three has scored. Marcus Edwards makes it 4. How many goals are we going to score in this Champions League final? I'm so focused right now. Mbuemo, that's 5! 5 goals in a Champions League final. This is now bordering on the territory of our biggest wins in any rebuild. Ooh, well intercepted there. Come on, I want a 6th. Mbuemo, can he get a hat-trick? Brian Mbuemo, it took a deflection. It might be a Kim Min-jae own goal, but we have gone from being Premier League champions, Carabao Cup champions, and now Champions League winners all within the same season. The treble is going to be completed. No deflection. Brian Mbuemo hat-trick confirmed. Come on, do we have enough time for 7? We do not, but we have just absolutely murdered Atalanta. And I can't believe it, within 4 seasons, have completed this Burnley realistic rebuild. James Trafford, a man that I didn't know whether I was going to get to keep him or use him coming into this recording today. He's going to be our captain, one of our standout players, and officially confirm the Clarets as European champions. Lads, if you enjoyed today's rebuild, make sure to click here to subscribe and click here to check out my Leeds United realistic rebuild.